Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. Today's video is a little bit different. You're going to see the Pajero over there in the background. I thought rather than just sitting at the back and talking to you, I'm actually heading down to the park with the dog to play with this. Now what's in this box is basically the purpose of this video. A number of people recently have sent me comments, whether it's just as a response to some of the videos that I've done, or whether it's actually been on Mud Duck's four-wheel drive touring videos. Where the Pajero has popped up, and there's a bit of a common trait in some of these comments that I've been getting lately, and that is get out and use your bloody four-wheel drive and get some footage of it. As you know, Steve, my mate, Mud Duck's four-wheel driving, he does like the touring videos and stuff like that, and we tend to try not to overlap our content. But I am in the process of editing just a trip we did up into Barrington. He was a big fella. But look, if I don't get four-wheel drive stuff, like some decent four-wheel drive content, where I'm actually pushing the Pajero a little bit and, you know, showing it in action. Then I tend not to put it up, because realistically, I guess that's what I'm interested in, so I assume that's what everybody else is interested in. But I've been told people just want to see the Pajero out and about and on the track, so I'm going to endeavour to do that just a little bit more. That brings me back to what's in this box. Because quite often my working hours differ to my friends, I can't always get out with friends to go forward driving, which sends me out solo. So with that in mind, what I wanted to do was just piece together a video kit that will allow me to get around and do a bit of filming, a little bit of solo stuff. Tyler Thompson does a really good job of this, but I am going to give it my best shot to try and get you some more footage of the Pajero in action, getting out and doing a few trips. And I need to get out and do a few trips in it as well. So now this is my Mavic Air 2, so DJI Mavic Air 2. I did have a Mavic Pro. Decided it didn't want to come back to me when we were up in the Barringtons. I sent it out, it had some issues and it just didn't come back, so that was $1,000 down the drain. Decided I wanted to go out and get another drone, and I went with the Mavic Air 2. I had plans to get myself a Skydio because I've seen lots of reviews of those, a Skydio 2, and its tracking ability and its ability just to throw it up in the air and have it track you autonomously and just do it on its own is phenomenal. And if you get a chance to go and have a look at one of those drones in action, and some of its I guess, you know, automatic routing and object avoidance, go and have a look at those. They're absolutely brilliant. But the problem was they weren't going to be available in Australia. I'm still not sure whether they are. So this little Mavic Air 2 came up at a reasonable price. It seemed to have some good object avoidance, and they've upgraded the tracking to tracking 2.0 or something like that. It might even be 3.0. So I decided to grab one of these and test it out. So the idea here for me was basically to be able to put this up behind me, lock it onto the car, and then use the automatic tracking and can just follow me down the track, using its own obstacle avoidance to dodge trees and the like.
You're the opposite of me, like sun and rain, and drama on the TV. It's full of pain. The happy ending, unexpected plot twist where you always save me. We're the good part, we never fake it. Even if it hurts, we always say it. Like it just like that. Kinda like it like that. Kinda like it like that.
there's a couple of quick learnings there. It has a requirement to be a certain distance off the ground. So it has to be a certain height up in the air before you can activate before you can turn on the active tracking, which is the tracking where it will follow you. That might be something like 20 meters or something like that. So if you're forward driving and you have a tree canopy or something around you and you can't get that minimum distance off the ground, it will not activate that follow me mode. And you'll see here, I'm initially trying to get it to do the active track where I want it to follow along with me, but it's just not doing it. And what you'll see here is just because I don't have it at the appropriate height, so it only gives me access to a couple of the more, I guess, stationary tracking modes. Spotlight one in particular, which is where you can put the drone in a certain position and it will turn and track whatever the object of interest is, but it won't follow you, as in the drone won't physically move. It's like a spotlight. It sits up at a fixed point and it just turns and follows. The camera will go up and down, the drone will turn left and right, the height will not vary, and it will not move from that point left, right, forward or back. Ultimately, I really wanted it to just be an automatic cameraman for me and get the sort of shots that I would hope to get from a cameraman, or, you know, somebody standing beside the Pajero, you know, following me up a track like that. But realistically, at this stage, unless somebody comes up with some pointers or wants to throw me some tips, so feel free to do that, I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to have to go for the typical drone shots. Have been able to get it to do some interesting shots. You'll see here where I had it in sort of a spotlight mode where a drone sits stationary, and I've driven up and I've come from one side of the drone and I've driven up and I've gone under it, and the camera has come down and caught the top of the Pajero as I've driven past, and then it's you know, turned the camera and followed me up the track. It's quite an interesting perspective, and I think that shot actually turns out really well. And of course, you'll see there's a section here where it just seems to work. I realised I needed the height. I got it up to the right height of the canopy. I pulled up in a spot where there's a little bit of extra height in the tree canopy, where I knew I could set it and get the height and then allow the drone to come down and track me along this track. And you'll see how that works just here. You'll see here at one point that the drone, when I set it off, it went into like a cluster of trees, and realistically it was not going to come out. And I had to intervene here. I'm not sure what it would have done, whether it would have got itself out or not. It certainly wasn't going to navigate itself out forwards. Whether it would have come backwards and given itself a go, I don't know, but I wasn't taking the chance with another $1,000 drone. The thing I need to consider is when I'm doing the footage and then I go and jump in the car. So I basically set up the drone, I put it up in the air, I hit the record button, and then I go and get into the vehicle. Then I've got the controller and the tablet all set up, that's here. I need somewhere that I can put that once I get back into the vehicle, whether it be some sort of mount or something I'm going to need to come up with that's going to allow me just to sit that on the dash or something like that, so I can monitor what the drone's doing and I can see it flying. I'm back in the car when I'm ready to do the forward driving, because typically I'm going to put this up in the air and have it recording when I'm doing some sort of challenging track, something that's interesting, a bit of rock climbing, something along those lines. So it needs to be mounted, and it needs to be mounted solid, but it also needs to be able to give me the ability to have a look at it whilst I'm driving along to make sure the drone's not flying off somewhere or sitting up in some trees. I'm getting around about 28 minutes per battery. I've got 3 batteries there. I do obviously have the 12-volt charging ability over the back, so I can just plug that in and I can charge 2 batteries at once. Just doing this testing, I actually went through 3 batteries just to get the footage that you're going to see here, which is probably around about 20 minutes worth of footage, all told, you know, cutting out the stuff where it's just me trying to get the drone positioned, or just footage that just didn't work. So at the end of the day, when it works well, and I'm happy with the results. The challenge is, you just can't always get that situation when you want to put the drone up. You can't always get that height. I can use, I guess, the stationary modes, POI or the spotlight mode, which allows me to set the drone and it can just track me go by. Ultimately, it just wasn't what I was after. Still happy with it, just not exactly what I wanted. But workable. Let me know what you think. Doesn't mean that I'm going to give up though, because where there is a will, there is a way. Even if that means down the track I've got to go out and buy a Skydio, which I don't want to do. I'd like one, but they're about $2,000. And I think a lithium battery setup will come well and truly before that cost. Looking at buying the cells from AliExpress and then putting my own battery together. Having some issues with getting them to accept my payment method though. So that's on hold for now, but that'll happen soon enough. Now, just if you're wondering why I'm here pulling a dirt bike apart, I just recently got this, as in a couple of weeks ago, and it's having some issues with fueling, so I'm just taking this apart and trying a few different things. Now, I did have the opportunity to put this up when I was out with a mate the other week. He's got the Pajero Sport, which we'll do a walk around on soon. Now, we were just getting to a destination which required a little bit of forward driving, and I had the opportunity to put this up in the air and just see how it performed. Stage, this is what I'm trying to work with, just to try and get a little bit more footage, and hopefully in the near future you'll be seeing a little bit more of that. Thanks very much for stopping by, guys. Catch you on the next one. Cheers.
Thank you.